there. Matt Borland and Ryan Newman are famous for communicating well amongst each other.
This is going to be the rally to cap all rallies right here. Adios, boys. Ryan Newman wins it. All right, Ryan, don't save any fuel now.
Ryan Newman is going to victory lane the second time this year.
If the fuel holds up, he's going to get his third win of 2003. Fourth time this season. Checkered flag and fifth win of the season.
Ryan Newman is going to win the Miners Richmond.
Win number 7. Would you believe they've done it again?
Matt and the guys did an awesome job. I mean, our car was really good at the end of happy hour yesterday, and the conditions were a little bit different. Not huge different, but a little bit different.
You know, they used to say this isn't rocket science. Maybe it is.
It has become that way.
Purdue University engineering grad Ryan Newman, Rocket Man, is going to rocket to victory lane.
He was a rocket man all day long.
Hopefully it'll stay there for the rest of the day, and we've had good pit stops so far, and hopefully have a couple more good stops, keep them up front, and see where we can finish.
You guys are kind of working with the track maybe coming to you as the afternoon progresses.
I hope so. We'll have to see. We're going to have to make a little adjustment to it, and hopefully it works out, and we can get a little bit more speed.
All right, thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Dave, in fifth win of the season.
Ryan Newman is going to win the Miners Richmond.
Win number 7. Would you believe they've done it again?
When he was in high school, he had an interest in cars. He's always tinkered with them, so to speak. He built or rebuilt an engine here in the Haslett schools in his shop class. He had a friend, a high school friend, whose father collected old cars, and they worked together on those cars. Don Miller told us one time at when we were down at one of the races in the garage, he was talking about how he felt about Matt, and he says, "You want to know why I hired Matt above the others we interviewed?" He says he was the only one that had changed his oil in his car, had done all kinds of things with cars. The others knew their information, but they'd never been on a car.
Row 10, you'll find Ryan Newman, last week's winner.
When he has time at home, he's dad all the way. He changes diapers, feeds them, bathes them, does cooking, does all that stuff that's part and parcel of it, of being a dad and a husband. And so he's pretty involved of anything that he doesn't like, being on the road so much and not having time with his family. When I watch the races each weekend, I don't take phone calls during that time. It amazes me that this team, that they can be up for the beginning of this race and put their all into it, only to be maybe crashed into, pushed into the side of the racetrack, or something go wrong and they're dashed with all that effort put in. The next week they're right back again. And they put that behind them and they keep right on moving.
They can't make a mistake.
Another great run. Let's get you back out live now to the racetrack and join winning crew chief Matt Borland from the 12 team. And Matt, it's one thing to win one of these races. It's another thing to flat out run away with that thing, and that's exactly what you guys did today.
Yeah, we had a great run today. I mean, I can't say enough about the guys in the pits. I mean, we had, I think, 5 low 13-second stops. I got them out front every time, and just our engineering group back at the shop, Roy and all those guys, and the engine guys just did an awesome job with the motor this weekend, and of course Ryan just did an awesome job driving the car, so it was a good weekend for us.
Matt, thank you again. I was thinking really hard, like really hard. I could see the steam coming out of my ears, and I came up with a thought about you, and I wanted to tell everybody. And the best way to describe you is an equation. And I came up with the idea, and I know this isn't true because some of us know about engineering, but I came up with the equation E equals mc squared. Not everybody knows what that means, and honestly I did forget. But in relationship to Matt Borland, the E stands for excellence, the M stands for Matt, and the C is what you call getting the chassis squared. And just want to say thanks. You've done a great job. It's been a blast working with you. I want to continue that success. So thank you, everybody at Penske.
Borland, today's winning crew chief, thank you so much for coming by, and congratulations once again on a huge win.
I first met Gil when he started developing in the Haslett School District when I was on the Meridian Township Planning Commission. He was one of the more interesting developers in that he seemed to like the natural features. And I remember lots of developers were concerned about how much of their development land they were losing to wetlands, and Gil didn't seem to be bothered by that at all. He seemed to like saving trees and wetlands. And
first met him, and he was the chair of our public policy committee, and through his natural work there and his very diligent work there, even as a volunteer, he made the ascendancy into our presidency at the Michigan Association of Realtors. So I've known him largely through public policy, and then obviously a friendship developed outside of that. One can't know Gil for very long and not consider him a friend at some point.
Honesty and integrity, I think, is very important. My dad and my uncle were two individuals where their word was good, and you could do deals on a handshake, and we don't live in that type of a society anymore, it seems like, because we're so litigious. But it's very important for you to keep your word.
He's the kind of guy who believes in giving somebody a good product at a fair price. And that is true, as I said, both philosophically and monetarily. And I think that permeates just about everything Gil does. And the fact of the matter is, he's one of the least selfish people I've met and run across in the public policy arena.
Well, Gil will do what he says he's going to do. He's one of the few people yet where the handshake is the deal for him.
You can deal with somebody in their word and what it means in a handshake, and you know it's as good as gold. I mean, that's pretty rare today, actually.
Gil came back to East Lansing to learn the family business, which is residential real estate. His dad had died unexpectedly of a heart attack, and that's when we met, when he came home.
Sitting at the kitchen table with him, and I was a bit in my cups, if you will, and bemoaning the state of world affairs. There was the Vietnam War, civil rights, you know, a whole host of issues, and I was very frustrated with that and discouraged about how change could occur, how things could be made better. And he said, you know, son, some of us have the opportunity to work at the international level and make things better. Some of us have the opportunity at the national level. Some of us don't have those opportunities, but it doesn't mean we don't try to make things better in our own communities. And that's always stuck with me. That is probably the biggest lesson that I learned from my father, that you need to be engaged, you need to be involved, you need to work in whatever small way you can at helping to make your community better. And sometimes you get lucky and you're able to operate on a larger stage, you know, and I've had some wonderful opportunities.
Bill didn't think he was going to be a real estate developer, but you know, the thing that I think is worth noting is that we all have connecting threads in our life, and for Gil, it's social action. it's making things better. And so what he's done with real estate is he's focused on land use policy.
No better time to be with Gil than in a boat. It's a very relaxing, very determined Gil White that goes out in the river, and very relaxed, I should say. And he's very natural at what he does, and he enjoys it tremendously, and it's just a thrill to be around somebody who enjoys doing something as much as he does that. And it rubs off on you. I didn't really fish that much before meeting Gil, but now I'm a fairly avid fly fisherman myself, as are several legislators who might not have otherwise been involved in the sport.
Yeah, there are a lot of things you could say about Gil White, but Sirius is not one of them. He's one of, if not Michigan's classic characters, at least this area's big characters. He likes to fish. In fact, if you check his card any time, I think you'll find that he has all his fishing gear in case there's a pond or a stream available when he's out working or looking around.
He's a guy you count on. I can say that. As we get older, you can count him on one hand, and he's definitely in my lifeboat. So I appreciate him as a friend.
Of anyone I know, I think is the most philosophically advanced in understanding the ripple effect of dropping the proverbial pebble of goodwill into the water. The ripple effect that goes out from there, he has a real clear understanding of, and I think that's why anybody who knows him regards him so affectionately and is so appreciative to know him and to have him in the community. There's no question he's already had a profound effect on the way Michigan's going to look in the next 100 years, and I don't know a lot of people who can say that.
Of our organization, administrators, teachers, bus drivers, cooks, secretaries, custodians, and maintenance workers, substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, Board of Education, and our many, many school volunteers. You are all outstanding. Parents and graduates, please join me in saluting our Meridian School staff. They have made a difference in the lives of our students.
The reason that Bob Regan is so successful is because he brings out the best in other people and he gives the very best of himself.
Bob is a good person, basically a good person, and he does good things for good people. He's done a great job for this district and this community. And this district is this community. That's basically what it is.
Brings out the best in people. He just knows how to do that, and I think it's just because he's so sincere and he's so warm and he is funny. He doesn't show his funny side a lot, but he's a funny guy, and he was a joy to work with.
He is always there to listen and always in a positive way. But the other thing is his accountability as an administrator. There was never a time when he wasn't right there working alongside you, and that he wasn't right there growing and leading us to grow along with him.
Bob had the job of balancing many things. First of all, he heard me telling him to save, 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 but also on the other side of his mind, he's hearing all the needs of the district and wanting to spend the money that we have for the education of kids.
The best thing that someone asked, well, what makes Bob different is, I said, you know, if you have a great idea, no matter what it is, and we have the money to do it, he's willing to do it. And I think that separates him from a lot of school districts that try to do that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But Bob's consistent theme was, if we have the money and it's a great idea and you can justify it, let's go for it.
What I learned very quickly, being a leader, if you will, is that it's most important to treat those people around you very, very, very well. I've always tried to live by that.
Well, he always used to ask me what was for lunch. I would be like, you know, no I don't. And I always used to get frustrated because he's a superintendent. He should know what the lunch is.
I had the opportunity to work with 4 different superintendents in my career, and Bob Regan is by far, and I can say this honestly, that he is by far one of the best people that I've ever worked for. And he is a person that truly cares about kids, and always made his decisions based on what was best for the students here.
Well, one thing I really admired about Bob was his relationship he had with Pat. She'd come into the office and Bob would just beam, and it would change his total disposition. You know, it was so nice to see that in a marriage, and he was so fond of his grandchildren and his own children. It was just really nice to see that.
The most important thing Bob felt about being a superintendent was the safety of the children. I think that was his biggest. In fact, now with him retired from the school district, he says the biggest weight off his shoulders is the constant worry to make sure that the buses are safe and the children are safe. And
the thing that I appreciated the most about Bob as a high school principal and as an administrator in this district was the fact that he would let you do your job. But he was always there for you. If there was a mini crisis or there was even a hint of some problems coming down the road, you could count on Bob Regan to be part of that process to help you through it.
He was the leader of our school district, and he inspired people to do better. He inspired our students, and he was always working for them. So in my mind, he was an inspirational leader of our school district.
I think a lot of people know, but TV 25 was Bob Regan's idea, and he was the one who wanted a TV station here, and he also knew what it took to have a successful TV program as far as funding and staff goes. And all the successes that we've had and all the great things that Channel 25 has brought to our students really started with Bob's leadership, and it was Bob's idea from the start, and I can't thank him enough, and our students can't thank him enough. We have one of the best stations in the country thanks to Bob Regan.
Well, our goal was to create educational opportunities for kids. That's what we were here for, and I think we did a pretty good job. And we did that by creating a safe and orderly environment in our schools. I think we hired outstanding people to run the schools and to serve kids.
He's a person that really cares about individuals. He's a person that also spends time and gets to know individuals. And I think that ability to interact with people and to keep looking at the big picture and keeping everybody happy, so to speak, which is a very difficult thing.
one of our Haslett teachers told Cammie's friend, she said, got talking about knowing Cammie and Bob, and she said, "Your dad is the coolest guy." She said, "He walks his grandbabies down the street. He comes in our classrooms often, and he has a Harley." She just said, that just summed it up about Bob. She just thought he was the coolest.
Right away, I felt a real strong connection with Mr. Regan because we just seemed to really be on the same wavelength in terms of how we view education and how we support kids, and so I thought to myself right there in that interview process, if I get hired here, it's going to be so comfortable. It's going to feel like home, and that's exactly what happened.
He had the vision to see the auditorium we needed, not just to build something build something that's going to last and that's going to work. It had to be good quality. He just wasn't going to throw a building up and say, "Here you go, make something do with it." Like all the facilities we have, they're all well thought out and well worked out. Spent a lot of time on that, making sure all that stuff was there, and it's going to last forever. It's going to be a long time before this is going to change much around here.
Thank you,
Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan. Thank you, Mr. Regan.
That's great.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.